and I'm live, and I'm in France, and I couldn't be happier. So if you're joining for the first time, my name is Amanda. I do updates on living in Europe. I'm usually coming to you from Italy. Tonight, I'm coming to you from France, from one of my favorite cities. I arrived today via Switzerland on the train, and I left Italy absolutely cooking. Italy was close to 40 degrees in the shade when I left. And my goodness, I was exhausted just getting to the train station, just getting to where I needed to be to get to France. And in fact, when I left home, the line that I need to get to the French border, to get to the Swiss border to go to the French border, the train between the two had been suspended for a couple of months, actually, because they're fixing one of the bridges. And so there was a substitute bus, which was fine. I got on the bus and went towards the Swiss border. And so that was about an hour and a bit on the bus. And then I got off, how lovely, in Brig in Switzerland, had a very quick bite to eat there, because then I was catching my train to go on to France. So as you probably know, or maybe you don't, France borders Switzerland and Switzerland borders Italy. And so if you're joining for the first time, don't forget to like if you join us and put your name down in the chat box. I want to hear from you in the chat box. Let me know which city you're joining from and if it's your first time joining. So yes, we're talking about France and what I'm doing here. So I got on the train to Brig, which is the first stop in Switzerland, close to the Matterhorn, close to Mont Blanc, that area in Valais, and went into the little, I don't know what you'd call it, a brasserie inside the station. And I thought I'll have a nice little lunch. I've been working non-stop on various projects, so tired. So I thought, okay, this is my first day. I'm going to sit down, I'm going to have something to eat. Well, I went to the counter to order, and literally there was a sandwich, a glorified sandwich. It was called something else, but anyway, it was basically ham and cheese. Hi, Farouk said hi. Tell us where you're joining from. Amadi, you must tell us the city you're joining from. I sat down, here I am in Switzerland. I thought, let me just have a little nice lunch and I can have a glass of apple juice. Yeah, I just felt like celebrating a little bit, having crossed the border. Anyway, I sat down. Well, needless to say, the little salad, which had a tiny piece of salmon in it, smoked salmon, and a couple of leaves of lettuce and a bit of dressing, was 18 francs for the little plate. I can't even call it a lunch, a meal, really. And then I thought, well, that's not going to fill me at all. I've got to go until, 7 o'clock this evening, or maybe even 8 o'clock. So I ordered also some kind, I don't know what it was called, but it was a kind of a bun, a sort of French Swissy bun, would have some kind of dried meat inside, looked a bit like bresaola that you get in Italy, and it had a piece of lettuce in it when I opened it. So that's what came, and a glass of apple juice. Now I want you to write in the comments what you think I paid for that tiny little plate of salad, which was like a small plate of salad. There wasn't any bread attached, there wasn't any extras. It was a tiny plate of salad with, I think, 2 tomatoes, some onion, one sliced piece of onion, and a tiny piece of salmon, and a bit of dressing. And then I bought the sandwich on the side, which was literally a bun with a piece of dried meat inside and a lettuce leaf. What do you think I paid? Tell me in the chat. Hi, everybody. Fifi, Amadi, I don't know where you're joining from. You need to tell us which city you're joining from. I want to hear from you in the chat. Tell me what you think I paid for this glorious lunch in Switzerland, which was barely enough to fill a mouse. But anyway, I thought I would have it anyway. And I sat down. You could also grab and go. You could grab a sandwich or a drink or whatever and go. But I decided to sit down because I thought, well, I've got an hour to kill between trains, so I might as well sit down and enjoy this. Let me know in the comments. I'm waiting for you. How much do you think I paid for a tiny little salad and a sandwich and a glass of apple juice in Switzerland? Now, I have to tell you, I used to work in Switzerland quite a few years ago. I spent 2 years going up and down between Italy and Switzerland working on various projects. And then I lived permanently in Italy, in Switzerland for about 2 years. This was going back around 2010, between 2008 and 2010. I lived in Switzerland and yeah, kind of permanently lived in Lucerne, lived near Zug, which is on the way to Zurich, and also lived in Lugano, which is near the south towards the Italian border. So yeah, I kind of know what happens in Switzerland and how things go. So anyway, this was the beginning of my trip to France today. Sat down, had this enormous lunch. So if you're not going to tell me now in the chat, you can, and you watch this back later, you can tell me what you think this tiny little lunch cost me in Switzerland. Anyway, needless to say, I had to run for my train, so I ran to get the train. What I love about Switzerland is they have ramps. Italy hasn't invented ramps yet. I don't know why. Leonardo da Vinci invented the helicopter, nearly 500 years before it was actually present on the earth. But somehow they couldn't invent a ramp in Italy in a station so that not everyone has to carry all their heavy luggage up the stairs. So if you're going to Italy, please don't take a big bag. Thomas, probably 260 in what? What does he say? 260 in Swedish currency, about 20 pounds. Yeah, $20. Yeah, actually more. Sorry to tell you, the Swiss franc has strengthened against the dollar and the euro and everything. It was 30 francs. Literally, it was an entree. It wasn't enough salad to feed a mouse and some kind of dried up sandwich and a glass of apple juice. Okay. And I literally paid €30. I've had meals in France with 2 glasses of extraordinarily good wine and 3 courses, and it didn't come to €30. Believe it or not, I didn't even realize this, but every day that goes by with all the stuff happening in the States, the Swiss franc is getting stronger and stronger against the dollar, against the euro. It's stronger than the euro. I mean, yeah, I had to get used to this. Anyway, it was a bad mistake. I admit it. It was a rookie mistake. I should have known better. I've lived in Switzerland. I know how expensive everything is. And I've yet to have a good meal in Switzerland. I've been to Switzerland on so many occasions, lived there for 2 years. I can't even give you a recommendation for the food. So yeah, Thomas, it was about that. But you're going to let me know in the comments. Anyway, what of the food you've had in Switzerland and your impressions. Anyway, so now I had to take the train and I was going along Lake Leman. Lake Leman is Lake Geneva. That area goes from Valais up to the Vaud. The Vaud is a province in Switzerland. And so went up there, went past Lausanne, and then, yeah, had a very pleasant time. Had to stop for an hour in Lausanne to get an onward ticket to France. And so then I took the TGV, which is the fast train to France. And I have to say, I'm going to tell you about this journey because it was really amazing. I've traveled to France 3 times last year, twice by train, 1.5 by train, and the rest by bus, and always found it perfectly doable. There's 2 ways you can do it. You can go via Torino, because I'm in Piemonte near Lake Maggiore, or you can go via Como and go up towards Lugano, Zug, Zurich, Lucerne, that way, into Switzerland, and then on to France via Geneva, okay, or Basel. So that's what I did the first time. And then at Christmas, I came by the other route, south, Chambéry, from Italy to France via Chambéry. Anyway, so I'm telling you about today. So I had to go and get a ticket because my ticket that I bought in Italy only took me as far as Lausanne in Switzerland. As I've already mentioned, I lived in Switzerland for 2 years and worked on many projects there over the years. So very familiar with Lausanne, very familiar with Switzerland, not so familiar, and quite clearly lost my mind and forgot about how expensive everything is. Anyway, needless to say, I went up and down the platforms to find platform 5, which is where the TGV, the fast first class train, which also has second class, was going to Paris. Going to Paris. So I had to get on that because my stop was on the way to Paris. Yes. Anyway, I managed to find my seat on the TGV. And then I realized that I drank all the water that I had and I needed a bottle of water. And so I got off of my seat because what happens is they completely separate second class from first class. So you can't walk from second class into first class on the train because, you know, second class that carriage has a wall and you can't walk up through first class to go to the bar. I didn't realize in the end that there actually was a bar somewhere halfway down the second class. But anyway, I got off the train, I jumped on the first class side, walked to the bar to go and buy a bottle of water because I thought it's been so hot, I'm going to die of thirst, you know, and I just had a tiny bit of water left. So anyway, went there, went to the first class thing, got a bottle of water, tiny bottle of water. This is it, look, that. This is 33 mils. It's not even half a liter. It's not even the normal little bottle. It's the tiny little thing they sometimes give you on the aeroplane or sometimes they give you in a hotel room. It's about 2 sips of water. Okay, right. So Swiss Water Vittel. How much do you think I paid for this water on the bar on the TGV train? I'm waiting for you to tell me and then I'll tell you. Anyway, I was shocked out of my mind at how much I had to pay, but I paid for it and went on. And then he said, oh, you can't pay with the card. I said, don't worry, I'm not going to pay with the card for that amount. Especially in Switzerland with the rate. I've just been ripped off for lunch. I'm not going to pay for the water with the card. And I took out 20 euro, which is the money I had. And he said, oh, I don't have any change. I thought, oh God. I'd forgotten about the whole Swiss franc giving you change in Swiss francs, and I definitely didn't want Swiss franc change. I wanted euros. Anyway, he went and scrabbled around and he came back with the change. And I literally ran and just managed to get back on the second class carriage before the train took off. Okay. And immediately we went through the countryside and came to the border with France. And then immediately I saw the change. And all the years of traveling up and down in Switzerland, sometimes you see cows, sometimes you see a farm, sometimes you see a lovely rural scene in Switzerland, but mostly you just don't see that very much. You don't see wide open spaces. And in Italy, and I've done every bit of Italy by train, north, south, east, west, never see cows sitting in the fields. They're kept indoors. Anyway, so as soon as we came to the French border, 2 policemen got on the train and dressed in their normal black, you know, with police on the back and French flag on their breast. And they couldn't have been nicer and kind and friendlier. They sort of, you know, as if they were imposing on our peace in the carriage. It wasn't packed, the train. It was very, very comfortable. I had a gorgeous seat with the whole table to myself, lots of windows so I could see out and see the lovely French countryside. The 2 policemen got on and went down to the end of the carriage and said, no, don't worry, we don't need to see your tickets. We just need your passport or your identification. In my case, I'm European Union, so I showed my European Union, didn't need my passport. Yeah, and they couldn't have been kinder and friendlier. And then, the train pushed one of them over because, the train was jostling about, and the other policeman joked, "Oh, can't you even walk straight?" It was just very pleasant. I mean, I've been checked on various borders by policemen. They aren't always that pleasant. But anyway, these two were really pleasant. And I have to say, last Christmas, I made a comment to a bunch of French policemen in Lyon when I was visiting Lyon as to how kind and civil they were and how helpful they were. I don't know where this idea comes from that the French refuse to speak English. Honestly, my French is shocking. And I mean, I can say the niceties. I can say bonsoir, bonsoir. I can say, bonjour, which I always do. I always greet everybody before. And if I need to ask somebody something, I don't just blurt out in English. I normally say, excusez-moi, s'il vous plaît. I try to be as polite as I can. But you could not say that I speak very good French. Somebody's giving me love hearts. Thank you for the love hearts. Let me know which city you're joining from. Anyway, I'm still waiting to hear how much you think the water cost on the train, on the Swiss train. This tiny bottle of water, not even enough for 2 sips. Anyway, so the French people were delightful. And as I have already mentioned, I find the French charming, polite, and so considerate. So now we're sitting in this carriage, okay, in the wagon or whatever you want to call it. In French, it's called a viseur. And there were, I don't know, 10 of us in the whole carriage. And so we all spread out and we all had a lovely seat. And I had a gorgeous seat looking onto the lovely French countryside going by. And I knew immediately I was in France, apart from the policemen getting on, the police to check our passports, because immediately there were whole herds of cows. Beautiful. I love seeing cows in the fields and big expanses of countryside and big farms. France has big farms. It doesn't have piddly little farms like, because most of the Swiss countryside is taken up with huge Alps mountains, which aren't very arable, and you certainly can't march cows up and down them, although they do try. Anyway, it's just wonderful to see these enormous farms, lovely French countryside, and the cows lying in the fields. And there was a big storm brewing. I could see the big gray clouds. And so, yeah. And I have to say that every French person who got on, and quite a few people got on after the police checked our documents when we crossed the border, everyone spoke in hushed tones. In fact, there was a couple sitting opposite me who were literally whispering to each other about the book they were talking about or general conversation or whatever, because they didn't want to disturb anybody. I travel everywhere on a train. I've been everywhere in Italy on a train. I'm on a train at least 4 times a week, going into Milan, out of Milan, wherever. And Italians are screaming and shouting into their phones at each other who are sitting right next to each other. The French are incredibly discreet and quiet. And it was such a pleasure. And there was a guy, a father with his little girl. Shame he had to entertain her for the whole 2-hour journey. And he did a very good job. He took out books and she wasn't interested in the books. And the only way he could really entertain her was to take out his wallet. She loved his wallet because I guess, kids know instinctively the things that are precious to us. And I applaud him because he didn't give her a cell phone to play with. He gave her his wallet. She was about 2 years old. And she kept pulling out all the cards and then chatting to him about them and, and carrying on. And they had a whole conversation going on in French. It was lovely. That's about the level of my French, is the 2-year-old. So that was quite educational for me. And yeah, she kept pulling out his cards out of his wallet and chatting to him. And it was lovely. But always in hushed tones, no shouting, no screaming, no aggro. And it was lovely. And then it started raining. And I can't tell you the joy I felt, because I'd had quite a long day of journeying from very, very hot. Italy was so hot when I left home. By the time I'd walked 10 minutes to the station in Italy, it was boiling hot. I was already completely exhausted from the heat. So the fact that it was now raining was stunning. And so it started raining, and it rained all the way until I arrived. And when I got off at the station, and you're going to tell me where you think I got to. So it's 2 hours from this, to about 2.5 hours from the Swiss border and 2 hours from Paris. Do you know where I am? My favorite city. Well, one of my favorite cities. I have so many favorite cities, but this is a city I really adore. So when I got off and walked out of the station, this cool breeze hit me, and it's been like that since I got here. This gorgeous cool breeze hit me, and it was so beautiful, so gorgeous. Can you guess yet which city I'm in? 2 hours from the Swiss border, 2.5 hours maybe, depending on the train. I was on the fast train, and it's a stop towards Paris. So the train I took was destination Paris. It's about 2 hours away from Paris, my city. I'll give you a clue. It's in a wine region. Yeah. So I'm waiting for you guys to tell me. Thanks for everybody who's joining. Don't forget to go up and like. Kona the Barbarian, Burgundy, yes. Now name the city. I'm in Burgundy. Thanks for joining, Kona. I'm in Burgundy, but which city? Which is the most famous city in Burgundy? See if you can guess. As I walked out of the station, there was this gorgeous cool breeze that hit me. So I didn't need to cry about the Swiss little tiny bottle of water I had to buy on the Swiss train, because this champagne air came at me as I got off out of the station in France and walked up to my apartment. Oh my goodness, what like champagne this air was, so fresh and cool. Not Lyon. Lyon's not in Burgundy. It's in Burgundy. It's not Lyon. Keep going. Keep guessing. Anybody join in? Which city in Burgundy am I in? And this gorgeous, cool air. And I walked past the park up to the apartment, put down all my bags, quickly splashed my face with some water, and changed into a cool dress because I needed a cooler dress. I was rather hot on the train, and then walked past the park, the familiar neighborhood that I love so much, to go and join a friend for some dinner in this lovely city that I adore in France, where I could drink beautiful Chablis, and of course I drank Chablis with dinner. So which city am I in? Keep going, Conan. Look it up. Which cities are there in Burgundy? Not Lyon, although Lyon is definitely one of my favorite cities in France. And as they always say, France is not Paris. There's many other cities. So I'm here in my gorgeous place in France. It's lovely. It's got wooden shutters on the windows. It's just perfect. It has everything I need. It's got a lovely bathroom with a bath. Champagne. No, Champagne is not in Burgundy. Burgundy is the region. What's the city? Champagne is a region. It's not a city. It's Burgundy. You've got it right. Burgundy is the region. What is the city? You're doing well. You're doing well, Conan. I'm happy you're joining us. Anybody can jump in. Which city am I in Burgundy? 2 hours from the Swiss border, 2.5 hours from the Swiss border, and 2 hours from Paris. It's on the Paris route between Lausanne and Paris. There's a good clue for you. Okay, so yeah, I couldn't have been happier to arrive here and have this gorgeous cool breeze. I just love the weather here. I was here at Christmas. Of course, the weather was very different then, but absolutely adoring this weather and couldn't be happier. And I walked down the beautiful promenade to go and have dinner past all these magnificent old half-timbered buildings. I have to check Google Maps. Well, hurry up, get to it. Get to it. Go and check Burgundy. If you just put Burgundy in Google, you people, you'll find all the cities of Burgundy. The region is Burgundy. You got that right. I was so looking forward to lovely little French brasserie, a lovely glass of chilled Chablis, which is my favorite, that lovely dry way that they make their gorgeous Chablis, which is another little town in Burgundy that I love. Chablis is a town. And yes, And so found the place where we had to meet, gorgeous little brasserie called Brasserie Comédie, and sat down and just breathed a sigh of relief. I'm back in France. They know exactly what they can do to make me happy. They brought me a gorgeous little glass of Petit Chablis. Dijon, you got it. Whoa! 10 points for Conan the Barbarian. Conan, where are you joining from? Dijon, my favorite city. So now you all know. But you're going to have, for those of you watching it back, you're going to have to watch halfway before you know where I am. So I adore Dijon. I was here at Christmas time and just loved it. It's literally 2 hours from Paris. I was up in Paris for Christmas in Fontainebleau with some friends, and then took the train through Champagne down to Burgundy. Oh, you're in New Jersey in America. And took the train down to Dijon. It was Christmas time, all the pretty lights, and had some of the best meals I've had. The French have the most magnificent way of cooking chicken. The French beef is so delicious. I love it. They raise amazing beef, beef cattle, cows, grass-fed. I just love the French way of cooking. I know lots of Italians are going to say to me, but you live, what about Italian food? Yeah, I eat Italian food every day, whatever. I mean, this is not a competition. Anyway, I was looking forward to some lovely French beef. I was looking forward to some lovely Petit grass-fed, lovely Petit Chablis or lovely Chardonnay. Sat down in this very normal brasserie. It was packed outside, packed with people. It was like 7:45 when I got there. This gorgeous champagne breeze blowing after the heat of Italy. And they immediately said, what would you like to drink? I said, I'll have some Chablis. And they brought it. And there was no, oh, no, we don't have a bottle of that open. You've got to order the whole bottle. Of course, I'll bring you Chablis. 2 minutes later, I had a gorgeous iced glass of Chablis. I love the French. Oh, my goodness. There's no moaning. There's no groaning. There's no just bring. Bring me a fresh glass of iced, just the right temperature Chablis. I sipped it slowly. I had really ordered my food. What did I want? I wanted a piece of steak. This is served. It's real brasserie food, just simple stuff. Very, very, very reasonably priced. We are now going to compare the food I had in Switzerland at lunchtime, which wasn't enough to feed a mouse, compared to tonight's meal in France in a brasserie. So you could say they're on a par in terms of cost, but no, my dear, no. So anyway, ordered my food. What did I feel like having? Usually I have a lovely Bourg-en-Bresse supreme of chicken with the lovely morel mushrooms, or a lovely piece of beef, as they call it, or beef bourguignon. All the delicious French dishes I just adore, with the gorgeous beef that they make. So this came, and it was just simple food. It's the kind of food you have if 2 of you mates meeting up and you're having a beer after work or whatever. And it literally was a piece of beef with a lovely, perfectly cooked fried egg on top that was just nice and soft. And then this gorgeous glass of Chablis and some gorgeous French fries. And that was my simple meal. And it was enormous, and it exactly hit the spot. I don't normally eat French fries, but certainly they were made perfectly, and they were the perfect complement to my gorgeous piece of beef, the gorgeous soft-cooked egg on top. It was just perfection. I literally wolfed it down. I was so hungry after my meager lunch, and slowly slipped this glass of beautiful Petit Chablis. Should one bring a book to read? For what? Any tips you can give when dining alone? No, I never bring a book. I'm quite comfortable dining alone. In France, they never make you feel spare if you're dining alone. I dine alone often in France, and they always welcome me. I walked into the absolutely full restaurant. I said to them, could I have a table for one? And he said, absolutely. Are you going to eat? I said, yes. He said, you can sit wherever you like. So I did. I sat where I wanted on the banquette, which I like to have a bench behind me, and I could choose my table. He didn't try and put me in a corner somewhere. No, the French are quite comfortable with eating there. But someone was going to join me for an after drink, so that happened. And yeah, it couldn't have been better. I said to him, I cannot even tell you how happy I am to be back in France. Anyway, that whole meal, you tell me what you think it cost. So it was a piece of steak with an egg on top, with huge amount of French fries, and a lovely petit chablis. What do you think it cost in a brasserie? Answers on a postcard, please. Somebody already answered earlier on how much the meal cost in Switzerland, which is literally a salad this big for a mouse, and a little dried up sandwich and a glass of apple juice cost nearly 30 euro in Switzerland. I could not believe it. No, my darling, it didn't cost 40. Keep going down. Didn't cost anywhere near 40. The Swiss ridiculous little mouse salad I had at lunch with an apple juice, wasn't even a glass of wine. That came to nearly 40 euro, actually. Literally a little piece of bread sandwich and a salad that honestly wouldn't feed a mouse. Yeah, it cost less than 20. Cost less than 20. And the quality was perfect. The meat was cooked to perfection. I asked for medium, I got medium. That restaurant was pounding. I don't know how the kitchen coped, because they told me they were one staff short, but they brought the food out. The food looked amazing. The food tasted amazing. There was no hassle. There was no moaning. There was no groaning. They even brought the bottle to me so I could see the maker of the Petit Chablis. Just absolutely gracious. And this is why I love being in France. People ask me, I'm telling you, it literally cost less. And I ordered an extra side. I haven't even mentioned that. Literally came to 18 euro. Yeah. Now I know you're going to say, but I went to Paris and okay, whatever. I'm just telling you what you can do here in Dijon. And I walked past all these amazing buildings, this gorgeous square with all the brasseries around and the lovely fountain in the middle and the magnificent, ducal palace of Bourgogne. Just Burgundy wine shops everywhere. Just, there wasn't anything unpleasant. There was no shouting, there was no spitting, there was nobody trying to rob anybody else. There were a couple of two homeless people with their dogs, but that's normal. This beautiful wide street. I didn't see one bit of rubbish. I didn't see any cigarette butts lying around. It was just heaven. I walked all the way there with this gorgeous champagne breeze, was served a beautiful meal in a packed restaurant where if it was me serving there and under that much pressure, I might have said, look, you come back tomorrow. But no, they served me with grace and everything was great. The food came on time. Everything was lovely. So yes, am I saying that you can have a wonderful time in Dijon? That's exactly what I'm saying. That's exactly what's happened to me tonight. I've had an amazing time. And I'm going to have an amazing time tomorrow because I am surrounded in the neighborhood I live with beautiful little brasseries. And you could go to any French restaurant if you want to go to Le Havre in Dijon, where they have, the old, it's a market, and there's lots of restaurants around the market, inside the market. It's an open air market. They sell all kinds of things. There's a million brasserie, and if you want an elegant restaurant, I passed about 20 of those on the way, and maybe it would be double what I paid for mine, but still, it's just amazing. What did you say, Granny? Point my toes. Petri Georgie, point my toes, Granny, I love you. Thank you. I know what point my toes means. Does that mean you're happy because you're French? I hope you're French. Anyway, I love being in France, and the first thing I said to the gorgeous server who came, he said, I'm sorry we were a bit slow tonight, we're one man short. I said, look, I'm so happy to be in France. I can't even tell you. Uh, I've been speaking French. I speak very poor French, but I do try, I know how to say bonsoir at the end of the meal, and c'est bon. And I can manage in basic French. Point my toes. I love this phrase, point my toes. Thank you, Petra Georgie. So yes, I mean, when you get a meal like this for 18 euro, you certainly can't have that in Italy. I can tell you that right now. You might get a plate of pasta, which is quite a small portion these days, for like 14 euro. And then you would have the cover charge. I had no cover charge. Then you would have the cover charge, which is normally about 2, 3, 4 euro. And then if you had a glass of wine on top of that, so this is just a plate of pasta. This is not meat and salad and sides and French fries. This is just a small little plate, that much pasta in Italy, in any kind of decent restaurant, and a glass of wine. It would probably be about 25 euro minimum. That's in a cheap place. And depending on what glass of wine you had, it might be 28 euro, 30 euro. That's the normal. But yeah, to go out and have this beautiful meal cooked in a simple way, it's just a place where families go, but you can go for different reasons. You might go there for a birthday and have a meal that's more elaborate, or you might just meet a friend for a glass of wine and you just want a piece of good French beef. Hallelujah, French beef. Oh God, French beef. Excellent wine. I love being in Burgundy. I love being in France. I spent the last 2 Christmases in Lyon and ate amazing food. So yes, am I excited? Yes. Do I love France? Yes. What did I love the most about today? I was able to compare Switzerland with France. Okay, and Italy as well. But let's leave Italy out of the point. The lunch I had in Switzerland at a comparable place was absolutely shocking. It was poorly made. It wasn't good. It was a tiny bit of smoked salad with a little bit of salad, and it literally a glass of apple juice, not even wine, apple juice, and a sort of bready sandwich thing like that. It wasn't none of it was well made or even nice, and it was nearly 40 euro. It was unbelievable. I'd forgotten how bad Switzerland is. Never had a good meal, and they will literally rob you blind in terms of money that you pay for something that's unpalatable. Anyway, I'm in France. I'm as happy as Larry. I'm going to give you a quick view around. I've got shutters on the window. I'm going to put out a video tomorrow of all the lovely places I went in Dijon tonight. And it was so amazing. It was so wonderful walking with this lovely fresh breeze after the rain. It was absolutely amazing and stunning. And yeah, and then, I greeted them. I said, probably see you tomorrow. There's another brasserie next to that one. There's about 10 of them all near each other. So I could choose a different one every day and probably have just as good a meal. And thanks you all for joining. Don't forget to go up. You can go up right now and like the video. Hit the like button. Hit the like button and tell me which city you're joining from. I always enjoy that. Thanks to Conan for joining from New Jersey, wherever you join, or if you join us later, then let me know your city that you're joining from. And let me know if you've been to France, what your experience was, how it went. I love being in France. I love the French countryside. I love seeing all the cows in the fields, the big farms, the architecture, the little villages with the church and the houses around the French countryside. It's so beautiful. So yeah. So to all my regulars who normally join, you're probably going to watch this back later. All I want to say is that when you're planning a trip to France, don't go back to the same old place in Paris that you went 20 times before. Sure, if you really love Paris, go to Paris. I mean, Paris has its charms, it has lovely stuff, but explore a bit. Go to the French countryside. I am 2 hours south of Paris and I'm in a different world. I'm in Burgundy. It's lovely. On a fast train, it could take you 2 hours, maybe 2.5 hours in a car, maybe 3. But there's so many beautiful towns and villages. If you don't want a tiny village, or if you do want a tiny village, France is full of beautiful tiny villages with country brasseries, country cooking, French country cooking. There's nothing better, classical French cooking. And it doesn't cost a fortune, and you can have a wonderful time on a limited budget. I'm on a limited budget, and I've had a wonderful time tonight, and I'm going to have a wonderful time tomorrow. You can walk. I'll tell you some of the things I've got planned for this week. I'm going to go swimming on a beach, wild swimming in a lake near Dijon. I'm going to sit on a beach and have a picnic with a bunch of people. I'm going to walk all over Barn and see and go visit wineries. There's so many beautiful things to do, and they all can be done on a budget. You don't have to go to Paris and drop $5,000 on a 4-star hotel and see the same old stuff and da. Sure, go to Paris for a couple of days, get out into the French countryside, go to the villages. That's the beauty of France. The small towns, the villages, the cities. There's other cities. There's the food connoisseur's dream of Lyon, where I've been twice this year, maybe 3 times, can't remember. Dijon, where I am right now, I could name 100 cities. 100 cities right off the bat that come off my tongue. Avignon, if you want to go to Provence, you could. There's so many towns. Every area that you could possibly be in. If you want to go up to Comte, or you want to go down toward Rhone Alps. Rhone Alps is probably one of my favorites because I love the Rhone River and the Saône River. There's just a million cities to visit. They're all beautiful and amazing. I don't understand how anybody has to get bored and just go and sit and do something they don't want to do in a big city, when you can just explore. And maybe if you're living in Paris and you're a bit fed up, get on a train and go down to Burgundy for the day. You have enough time to come back. It's summer, it only gets dark at 10 o'clock. You can come back in that day if you don't want to stay over, but I would suggest you stay over. Get a little country hotel. It's glorious. Go for a lovely walk in the French countryside with that nice fresh air, and you might bump into a bunch of livestock, and maybe bump into a farmer or two, and get a nice ice cream and just watch the world go by. It's so amazing. So yes, I've absolutely had a glorious day today. It started very challenging, being incredibly hot in Italy, and then I had that experience in Switzerland where I was reminded why you have to carry around a bank in your pocket in Switzerland, because everything costs a fortune. On the Swiss train, had to get onto the first class part to go to the bar to get this little bottle of water, which is 3 sips of water. It's literally 33 milliliters of water. Sorry. It's not even half a liter, the normal small bottle you'll get. This is what they give you on the airplane. Kana Arikan, you are so beautiful. How kind of you. Hi. Thank you so very much. This little thing cost me. How much does this cost me on a Swiss train? I want you to tell me. Tell me how much this cost me on a Swiss train. Because at the end of the video, I'm going to tell you. So I couldn't believe it. I mean, after my terrible lunch in Switzerland, which cost literally €40 for this much lettuce and tiny piece of salmon and a dried piece of bread, which literally cost €40. How much did this cost? 5. Yeah. Conan, yes. €5 damn. It's not. It's not even enough to. I don't know. I mean, in Italy, this what they don't have these tiny ones, but they have that size, and that would be 20 cents or maybe 50 cents. Anyway, let's not talk about Switzerland anymore because I'm in France and I've gone 3 countries today: Italy, crossed the border from Italy into Switzerland, and went all along Lake Leman, Lake Geneva, and landed up in Lausanne. And in Lausanne, took the TGV train going to Paris. Where am I from? You need to watch the video. Go back and watch the video. I'll tell you where I'm from. So, if you've just joined, maybe you need to catch up. Food picture. I'm not putting up pictures. This is a live. I don't put up pictures. You'll have to watch my video if you subscribed. If you haven't subscribed, this is the time for me to tell you. If you haven't subscribed and you'd like to watch my updates this week of all the amazing French food I eat, the wine I drink, the stuff I do, and the amazing stuff I'm doing in France, you have to subscribe because I will put up a video this week and I have to edit it of all the things I have videoed, walking around, the sights I've seen, the food I've eaten, but that'll come up in the video. This is a live. This is coming to you live. As I'm speaking, so you're seeing it. Isn't technology amazing? You're seeing this around the world, and I'm talking now in France. But if you want to see, Conan, what I eat, lovers from Turkey. Oh, you're from Turkey. Hi, Turkey. Yeah. If you want to see what I get up to this week, you need to subscribe to the channel. Go and like the video right now. Only 3 people have liked it. Go up and hit the like button. Let's see if we can get to 10. Like right now. Hit the like button. Hit that button. And if you haven't subscribed, please do. Because this week I'll be telling you all the things I'll do in the city I am in France. And if you haven't watched yet, you can watch this back and see where I am and how I got here today by train and what happened on the train. So you can watch that back. So I really just wanted to get on here and update you as to my beautiful place that I'm in. And you can watch the video to see the whole tour of the apartment and to see where I eat and what I got up to and all the food pictures you want, Conan. Anyway, that was my experience today. I got reminded how expensive Switzerland is. I don't know why their currency is strengthened so much against the dollar and the euro and all the other currencies. It's something to do with apparently the tariffs that Trump has put on things. I don't know. I don't know what's going on. But anyway, the Swiss currency has strengthened against every other currency. So don't go to Switzerland at the moment because they will literally jump on your wallet and rob you, literally. Yes. So what I had, my experience this evening at the brasserie, the food I had, the lovely wine I had, the service I had was half the price. That it would have been anywhere else. And certainly in Italy. So if you want to know that, that's the truth of it. And so, yeah, I think I'm going to wrap this up shortly. Some of the things that I'm going to do this week, if you want to subscribe, and then you can see what I get up to. I have a couple of videos coming out this week, and you'll see the people we join up with. We're having a lovely picnic on the beach here in France. We're having a Scrabble evening that I'm organizing. We're going out for drinks. We're going to a music evening. So I'm going to be doing lots of events that are happening here in the city where I am, and to show you how lovely it is to be in France and how you can have a great time on a budget. I'm on a budget, people. I'm on a budget, as I've already said. I'm on a budget, and if you're on a budget, you can also have an amazing time in France. So, my favorite city. Conan managed to guess the city I'm in. So if you're just watching now, you need to watch the video back, or if you watch this back later, see if you can guess the city that I'm in. The clue is it's in Burgundy. Okay, so lovely. Thanks for joining, all of you. And I will see you on the next one. And the next one will be this week. I'll probably do another live, maybe on Wednesday, to catch everyone up with all the lovely things I'm doing here in France and some of the wineries I'm visiting and the food I've eaten. But certainly, I will put up a video. If it isn't a live, I will do a video of some of the sites we've seen and all the lovely pictures that you're asking for and all the lovely experiences of the food I've eaten and where I've walked and what I've seen and the beautiful things you can do. I've also videoed some of the train trips, so a few pictures between Italy, Switzerland, and France. So see you on the next one. And let me know if you watch this back. If you watch this back later, leave me a comment. Let me know which city you're in and whether you've been to France and what you think of the places I visited. So I'm going to say good night now from France and see you on the next one. And if you haven't subscribed yet, I don't know what you're waiting for. All the content is here. There's a whole lot of Italy videos. There's a whole lot of French videos. You can go back in my stream. And Konad, you need to subscribe and go back and watch my past videos. Thank you for joining from wherever you joined from. New Jersey, Turkey, France. I've had some lovely comments this evening. So take care. See you on the next one. Bye. Bye from France. Bye. See you on the next one. Don't forget to hit the like button. Hit that like button now. Hit the button. See you on the next one. Bye. From France. Bye. Bye. Bye-bye.